everyone. Hey, YouTube. Can you guys see me? I think you guys can see me. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Maybe you can't. Hold on. Hold on. I think I'm on. Sometimes I have to put on my other earphone. Okay. I think you guys can hear me okay. Hit 13 if you can hear me okay. Peace, everyone. You can hear me. Good. Perfect. Peace to the east, west, north, to the south. This is Fleurbrun coming to you today with another topic discussion. Check on in. I missed you, my famille. I hope all's well. I'm back in Florida. Whoop whoop. Back in Florida. Whoop whoop. Check on in. Yes, it is beautiful. Hopefully, you are staying nice and grounded. Um, I just returned from, hey, Oz. I just returned from an etheric school. So, we'll get into that in the conversation. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I got my hair braided. You guys never see me with my hair braided, right? Yeah. Thank you, my loves. Hey, Linda. Hey, Osiris. So check on in. I'll wait until a few of you check up back on in so I don't start too early. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Thank you, my love. Hey, Jandria. Hey, Cheryl. Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Let me take a sip for the haters. This is my chemicalized ASMR. It actually isn't. This isn't coffee today, but I'm still gonna do a drink for the haters. How's everyone doing? Okay. Thank you. Hey, Ada. Hey, mamita. You got some intel? Y'all are off the chain. I can actually talk today. So, let's get into, instead of straws, I'm using lids. See, I got a sippy cup. I've progressed. Anyway, so let's get into a conversation about the mystery schools and open enrollment. It looks like since we're going through the shift and we are now ending the cycle almost completely, we're almost in completion of the cycle. The mystery schools have open enrollment, and there's several different mystery schools that are opening up for those who are in a certain alignment, a certain frequency, a certain vibrational awareness. They are now going to start to disseminate their scouts. So I want to just talk about the fact that many of you who are having dreams or in your dreamscapes are meeting people who may be seeming to interview you. You may perhaps be you may be being scouted for potentiality in particular mystery schools that are now open enrollment for the shift. So, because again, it's almost like a semester is ending, the old cycle is literally collapsing. We've talked about collapsing of the timelines, re entering 0 point, the polarities kind of facing off, east, west, north, south facing off. You're seeing light and dark battling it out to basically, extinguish the extremities to bring us back into a more hyperdimensional medium to allow for us to be, whole. I think many people were asking the question, why is there so much beefing with people of different ethnicities, different complexions, with, Democrats versus Republicans? That is all necessity in order to face off the polarities. If you been with me for a while, for those who've actually, hey Yafi, I miss you, mama. If you've been with me for a while and you've kind of progressed with the conceptual reality that is now starting to unravel, you will also see that these extremes, even in your life, because I think for many of you, and you can kind of like validate this if it's true for you, in your lives, the 2020, the full view, seeing things fully for what they are, is literally showing aspects that need to be remedied or just leveled out. I think even you can tell me if you're in your life, people are starting to show you who they really are. People are starting to tell you who they really are. Your whole perception of reality is unraveling, and it's absolutely amazing. Hey, Sister Sirius. So with this wonderful collapsing, which looks literally chaotic. Now, I will say this. If you are in hyper awareness, hey Susu, if you're in hyper awareness, you really begin to realize that everything that you're perceiving in the reality that was our previous stage of engagement is literally collapsing or it's facing off. That's why many of you in certain blood lineage aren't allotted. Oh, thank you, Guava Berry. People trying to catch a ride out through melanin. Oh, we gonna go into that. You're psychically connected to me. You say things sometimes that are already in my conversation, people, because the gates are closing and no more deals. That's right, Mama. Okay, woo, Guava Berry, you are. Listen, we in the same frequency. You on the same channel because you already knew where I was going with this. So in your life, you are literally starting to see a separation in lineage and blood lineage. What does that see? A lot of the negative roots. Big up to my negative roots. Whoop whoop. Where are my negative roots in the house? Hey, all y'all. My negative roots and the positive roots. You are starting to see the separation of the two. Why is because there has began to be Fleur. I had a dream. I was dressed for an interview. Got caught on a group of women being trafficked. Oh, snap. Listen. Oh, you, you get me excited. Okay. Oh, okay, Guava Bear. I'm going to get into it. Okay, so hold on. So you were starting to see the blood lineage starting to separate as well because negative roots has had control. Negative roots are the off-world blood, and I'm only speaking about the negative roots that is off-world blood. Big up to those who are off-world blood, you negative roots beings, you intergalactical celestial travelers. What you're starting to experience, a lot of you negative roots, is maybe some uncomfortability because you were allotted. Now, we're not talking about the negative roots that were created. There's a difference. The heirlooms that I perceive to be, oh, sorry, I'm coming out. I'm coming out. I'm coming out. The negative roots, check your DM. I'm going to check my DM. Thank you, my love. Who's that, Shine? Who's that? Okay, I'll check my DMs. The negative roost. Let me talk to my negative roost first. My negative roost family. I'm speaking to you first. Now, there are differences in the different roosts. I'm only going to touch on this because I want to get into mystery schools and I want to talk about the interview process and I want to talk about the open enrollment and I want to talk about the. Listen, I'm woke. I didn't sleep. Big up to the crew on Patreon, from the Zoom crew. We were up. We were up a couple hours. Oh, hold on, y'all. Ooh, there's some things going on. Hold on. Oh, there's something going on. Hold on. Ooh, something going on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm being nosy. Hold on. Hold on. I'm being nosy. Okay, sorry. You know, I have to be nosy. There's a lot of things going on in my neck of the woods. Okay, so let me get into the literal unraveling of the different lineages that are starting to separate. Now, for those who are negative roots, there are different forms of you. Okay, there are the negative roots that are the off-world beings that are heirlooms. Now, if you're an heirloom, you are literally feeling a push and pull right now. You're feeling like this isn't your planet. Some of you are having dreams of being in other galaxies, other celestial planes, other planets. Some of you are feeling like you aren't feeling well. Some of you are feeling like you're not feeling well. You're starting to feel like things around you aren't concrete or congruent. Some of you are feeling like you aren't in sync with people around you. That has to do with you coming to an internal and a biological revelation of your non-terrestrial connection to this planet, and you're starting to feel the actual pull or the presence of some of your celestial family that may be here to for you to exit this particular matrix programming. So there's different forms of negative roots. So I only say if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling this way, if you're having these forms of feelings, if you're having dreams of being on a planetoid with different suns, like the sun looks different to you, or you're seeing 3 and 4 moons, most likely you happen to be part of the celestial group that came here as colonists, and you may be preparing for your exodus out of this realm of existence, because this won't be a cohesive planet for you any longer. Okay, not in the way that it's existed in 3D. Okay, so that's for the negative roots that are heirlooms, and I'm not. And listen, there's no judgment, but that is only for heirlooms. Heirlooms are those that are not genetically grafted, homogenized to be utilized. Now, you do know that the ones who have been homogenized and utilized for forms of control, because negative roots tends to be more hive-minded. Negative roots tend to have more of a connection to the directives of the hive. So whoever is heading the hive, whatever queen is heading the hive, the negative roots will go in that alignment. Okay, so if you're feeling that way, just know that you should start to write down, dream journal, make sure you're taking down notes. If you're feeling this way, follow the lead. Try to keep from ignoring these things, because this is what's going to allow you to enter into the next stage of your evolution. As far as whether I doubt many of the negative roots will be here in the plane of existence that we coexisted before. And I'm purely speaking to the heirlooms. Heirlooms are the ones that weren't homogenized. Okay, so if someone's a clone, if someone is genetically cloned or genetically capped, you can also come up with negative roots. That's what I'm saying. I'm speaking to the heirlooms of the negative roots. The heirlooms are those who are natural celestial beings that have that connection to their celestial bodies that they've come from. So I'm speaking to you. Also, let's talk to the positive roots. The positive roots, finally, let me give a shout out to all the positive roosters. Whoop whoop. Positive roots, you have finally gotten some reprieve. You will now return back to a healthy homeostasis. Remember, a lot of the groups that were coinciding here before were suppressing you in order to keep a certain kind of a lower vibratory pattern on the earth for control, for their motivation of creating coups and and being able to harvest and do diabolical things. So for the positive roots, I will say to you, you are now going back into your proper placement. This is your direct planet. You are positively from this planet. That's why you're positive. Negative means you're not from here. Positive means you about this life on earth plane. And as the earth goes through her shift, your cellular memories will start to be able to reveal how you were looking, or how you physically were your physical attributes necessary in order to coexist in this new plane of existence. Okay, so just know that. So for the positive roots, you should be feeling a lot different. You should feel more empowered. There is going to be a lot of changes with you positive Roosters as far as physiologically. So some of you remember the Mer family has positive roosts. Those who are connected to a lot of the elemental realms are positive roosts. Those who are part of the serpentine group, you are part of the positive roost. Now, because of that, you will start to change. And I don't want to get too deep into that because tomorrow, oh, let me make an announcement first before I have so much to say. Let me make it a part. So for those joining the initiation of the children's Zoom tomorrow on Patreon, you can now go onto my Patreon and sign on, and you can have your little ones join us tomorrow for the first Zoom children's interface. And I was directed to do this because of the mystery schools opening up for enrollment. So now the little ones will have their conversation and their little platform to allow for them to start to feel empowered, to speak to others very like themselves. My daughter will be heading, my eldest will be heading this group. So if you decide to join the group, all you have to do is sign on my Patreon. The ages for this group, I will be doing something for little people that's more art based. The little ones are are very little, and they probably just need some wonderful art or some Arcturian energies, and we'll do something for them. Hey, Saki, miss you, mama. So for the little ones who are joining the Zoom tomorrow, you can register on my Patreon. Their Zoom is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. The ages that are appropriate for this group are anywhere from 8. You can do 7 if you feel your child is. Remember, I'm very appropriate. I'm very mommy friendly. So if your child is, articulate in how they feel on a spiritual level, if they're able to, if they're comfortable with other children. So this will be anywhere from 7, I would say 7 to 14. Okay. Now, for autistic children, I know some of the mothers were asking if you have autistic children who are on the perimeter. Oh, thank you, my love. Oh, hold on one second. Thank you, Mystic Love. O positive and melanated, have had 2 surgeries this year, and hold on, and hospital keeps asking for you to donate genetic sample. Okay, we're going to get into that too. Thank you, Susu, for putting the connection for the Patreon. Thank you. We're going to discuss that. Thank you so much for the donation, and you're absolutely right. And this is what I'm going to talk about. The harvesting of melanin was literally to access the cellular memories of those who are from Earth. So I was just, y'all, let me explain something to this group. I have some of the best sea stars and sun stars on here. And I know people say, well, no, because you're just biased because it's your group. No. You are some of the most highest, most telepathically sound beings on my platform. I will say, and I have such a united front of so many different people from so many backgrounds, so many tongues, and I'm so appreciative because you just pick up things in my head before I even say it. So I'm really grateful. Thank you, Mystic. We will get into that, and I'll tell you why they're sampling your blood and why they're doing it, okay? So for tomorrow's Zoom for children, and I will put it in the community, so I'll be a reminder to the mommies and daddies and abuelas and grandpas. You can come to my Patreon. You can have your little ones come on from 7 to 14. The time is from 2 o'clock to 3:30. We're going to do this once a month, and then if the children really like it, we will do it twice a month. I will add the little ones maybe later. We will do music with the little ones and some wonderful sacred geometry with the little people to help to open up their synapses. This is a very closed group. If you're an adult, I say this isn't appropriate, but adult and mommies and daddies, you're more than welcome to sit down with the little ones while they interface with tomorrow. The topic tomorrow will be totem animals, spiritual animals. That is the topic for tomorrow. My little one is making her syllabus and her schedule, so it should be nice. Again, this is a meet and greet for the children tomorrow on Zoom. So you have little people, you want to get an hour and a half of them interfacing with each other. This is a wonderful, safe platform for them to discuss how they're interfacing. Children are very awake. They're the ancients. This gives them an open forum to discuss their connection to the etheric realm, their celestial connection, and for them to meet other little ones like themselves on a very safe platform. So if you want to have them come tomorrow, do have them join. My daughter is heading this group tomorrow. She's mature enough to do so. I'm very proud of her, and she's very sound and absolutely phenomenal. So if you want to join tomorrow, it's at 2 o'clock to 3:30. I will put it in community later, but this is the first, and this was the initiation because of the mystery schools, the ancient mystery schools that are opening up for open enrollment. Okay, so let's go back into the positive ruses. Positive ruses. You are finally getting your freedom papers. You are off the plantation of you're off parole. Positive ruses, especially you A's. Hey Carla. Positive ruses, especially you A's. A's, you should start feeling a connection to the fairy realm. Many of you A's, oh, I'm getting chills. Oh my gosh. Whoever's on here is an A, you gave me chills. A couple of you A's just gave me chills when I said this. Somebody's having interface with the fairies and you may not even know it. Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Whoever, you A's are maybe making me feel this way, thank you. So you A's, you, my loves, my first group, you are the originators on this earth plane. You will start to get communication from your animal families. You will start to have interconnection with the fairy realm, the pixies, the gnomes, and what have you. You may be having dreams with them. You may actually literally be having the revelation of seeing them, like literally seeing them. I think many of you saw the picture that I was allotted to take of the fairy that's always on my flower patch. My flower patch is not there anymore around my house. And it only allowed me to take pictures, and I didn't even know that the pictures were being seen until that one picture where my little one said, Mommy, the fairy showed up. So I think if you get a chance, it's in my community. It's a while back. It's a real picture of a real fairy. People said I made it up. It was some sort of craziness. No, it was, I've been taking them for a long time. I just never could get the revelation. So for all you A's in the house, let me give a shout out to you A positives. A positives, you will be now having connections to your elemental famille. The trees will speak to you. The water will drive you. The air will speak to you. The wind, the pixies, the beautiful celestials that will start interfacing with you. A positive, thank you, my love. Whoop, whoop. So please document. Remember, you are always to journal. Please don't refrain from journaling in your computers or in your phones because AI likes to keep all your information. You know how I feel about that, right? So make sure you aren't writing anything in your computers or on your notes in your phones because AI and other spies, you know, Willy Wonka and his League of Doom, like to document as well. You write them in your beautiful books. Listen, you should have a wonderful book. I always keep mine on me. I bought this from New Orleans when we had the conference. Keep your book on you, document, journal, write down your interface. If you're having interface with the fairies, you are going to get some information regarding the pole shift. Okay? I know 2 people already that are A positives that already got some information about the geographical shifts and where the volcanoes were first going to start to be erupting. Okay, and they were absolutely they were absolutely on point. So, oh yes, please like on the video if you're up for the shenanigans and like the conversation. I always appreciate it when you put the like. It will allow this to stay up longer, and they will most likely let it stay up because they're messing with people's channels. As you saw, they deleted a lot of people's channels. So if you like the content, and you like me coming on and you want to see more of me, putting a like gives me an idea that what I'm doing and what I'm giving you what you like. I want to please you, okay? I don't want to tease you. I want to please you, okay? So you should be taking documents. So for the fairy family, for those, not all A positives will have fairy, but I know the A positives have a strong link to the elemental realm. And O's too, but A's definitely, because you are the originators of this planet, this space, Earth Terra, Earth Tiamat, Mama Aquaterra, okay, which she's going to be called as she shifts into her water world. So make sure you're documenting your interface with the fairies. The fairies will tell you geographically what's going on, and I want you to pay attention to that. Oh, thank you. The cucarachas test up. Wait. Hold on. Test up nose, and then they're trying to put someone on you for the ride out. Word up. You right on point, goddess. Goddess Libra. Libra, bigger to you, Libra. Happy, blissful anniversary to our Libras in the house. You beautiful Libra. I love you, Libras. You Libras bring balance. We require you. If no one's ever told you how special you are, Libra, I will tell you how amazing you are, how you're bringing in these polarities and you're balancing us out to 0 point. You are so worthy of this shift, okay? Okay, so for those who are having an interface with the fairies, please document it and write it down. And again, geographically, they're giving you a lot of information. So make sure you are trying to retain. Now, if you are a chiefer and you're a positive, because a lot of the chief is extraterrestrial. Let me do the ASMR for you. Thank you, my love. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Oh, Crystal's on here. Woo woo. Crystal's my soul sister. You celestial being. Look at Crystal. Crystal, you staying on the planet or you gonna leave? Crystal, you gonna stay? That's one of our old negatives. That's one of our goddess queens. Look at her. She's an heirloom. Even when you look at Crystal, her features are like celestial. Like she looks like one of the goddesses. Oh, Lovecraft. Okay, so whoever's joining us, I got so much to say. When I don't see y'all for a long time, sometimes I have so much to say to you, it's overwhelming. So I'm trying to keep focused. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to watch, y'all who told me to watch Lovecraft, Crystal, you need to watch Lovecraft because I saw you galactic self coming in when she was going into another dimension with the lady who looked part robotoid and part, she had an afro. Yo, Crystal, you were rocking her. I mean, I could see you flying in space like that. It was like an interdimensional being. Anyway, you got to watch that. Whoever told me, Saki, did you see, I'm going to do an IG too, Saki. I need to do an IG. But did you see, Saki, you need to watch Lovecraft too. Listen, for y'all who told me to watch it, I couldn't believe it. I was like in shock at how much reality. Now, if you get triggered from complexionisms, you need to mind watching this because you can probably be triggered. I had a little bit of triggering at the beginning, but I had to really balance my emotional state out and realize that isn't something that has to do with anything as far as reality. That is literally whenever we're dealing with things that have to do with polarities, whether it's light and dark, up and down, it literally is meant to evolve you into higher states of consciousness. And however, the universe, however you've chosen to contractually make these agreements, is only to level you up. So if you are bold enough to come into this life as a Negroid, it means you're a higher being. Let me state this again. If you are bold enough and strong enough and leveled up enough to take on being a person of color, especially a woman of color, you are the bomb.com. Why? Is because that is one of the hardest spiritual leveling up because of the amount of suppression, marginalization. Those are all testaments. Those are all tests. And they're meant to cultivate you into a diamond. So if you come into this life and you're bold enough and you were strong and qualified enough, quantified enough to come into melanin as a woman in this particular time with all of the sex trafficking, the oppression, that means that you are higher in the field of conscious awareness and you are quite suitable to deal with those spiritual lessons. So remember, everything is in flip mode. Everything is inverted. Those who are seemingly on the bottom are higher in spiritual on a spiritual level. So those remember, everything above shows up in an inverted way here, especially as we're in an upside down world. So those beings on the highest level in the spiritual world will come as the lowest beings in the physical world. It's a fact. Anybody who has a cushy life here, they aren't the highest. They're just novices. It's almost like tadpoles starting to learn their lessons. So they don't need to go through the hardships of oppression or marginalization or cruelty because they are here for just to observe and to learn and to eventually choose contracts that will level them up. And I talked about the Pac-Man. I won't go into it again. Pac-Man is basically telling you, I showed you the Pac-Man game at the beginning of Pac-Man. You go at the beginning of Pac-Man, you go into the lowest. You're eating a lot of cherries, you're chilling out. Pac-Man is enjoying his life. There's only one or two ghosts chasing Pac-Man, right? And then middle level of Pac-Man, darn, there's a couple ghosts coming for you, but you still get some cherries. You're still chilling out in that level. At the highest level of Pac-Man, what happens? You got 50 million ghosts chasing you. You can't get a cherry. You barely can make it through the game. And if you happen to supersede the level and gain that highest and win that level, you are the bomb.com. You've earned that position based on the fact that you've been leveled up in order to gain a certain kind of spiritual wisdom. So remember, if your life has been hard, and this is not only for brown women, or I'm not saying that because I know lunar women that going through it 1000%, but I'm saying if you've chosen to come in the lowest position, which is a brown woman, in this particular 3D at that past cycle, it means that you're higher, you're one of the highest in spiritual. That's why all big mamas show up as brown women. Okay, that's why when you watch Lovecraft, all the women that are leveled up are brown, bulked up women, because those women are the ones, because bulkiness, what they consider to be chunkiness, is literally shields. It shields your organs energetically from all the pulse waves, the low field energy that attacks a lot of brown women. So that's why you see a lot of brown women a little thicker in this particular realm. That is their shielding. Okay. Even when you go to a lot of the spiritualists, I know the quality and the quantity of the amount of, or the heightened amount of awareness or higher vibration of a spiritualist, whether it's Hoodooans, Wiccans. If they're bulky, it means that they've shielded themselves so they aren't so susceptible to getting hit with energy weapons, because it shields your organs. It shields you. It's like an energy shield. It bulks you up. And this also plays out to children that get molested, young ladies who get molested. I think Jewel Brookman goes, big up to Dr. Jewel Brookman, who speaks about this masterfully. Dr. Jewel Brookman, and this goes with all women and all men. People who tend to get attacked sexually or molested or traumatized tend to get bulky. You usually can see a little girl who's been molested because she'll tend to bulk up a little bit. Either she'll usually bulk up and get a little chunky because it's a way of shielding herself. If she's qualified to do that, what she'll do is she'll bulk herself up. So you'll see little girls who've gotten molested or touched or violated. A lot of times what they'll do is their bodies will bulk up. It's a protection thing. It's to protect them from people looking at them visually, sexually anymore. And also it protects them energetically. Okay. I love when I'm not even saying it to the degree that Jewel Brookman talks about this. She's amazing. I listen, when I share things like that, I'm not qualified to the degree she is. I'm talking about one of the masters. She's amazing. She was she's originally she wasn't an oncologist. She was an OBGYN, and she really she really leveled that perception up. Oh, food shortages. Thank you, Oz. And also, I want to talk about the fact that the women who are positive roosts, and I think some of you negative roosts have this quality too. Remember, food. Why a lot of melanated women get a little bulky is because we aren't supposed to eat. Let me state this again, and let me put this PS public service and PSA out there. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a scientist. I'm a mother. I'm someone who's seasoned, and I've been around the block a couple times, talked to a few people, and been around the galaxy a few times. So this is information that I've gained solely from just reading, learning, experiencing, and kikiing. Okay. So when I share these things from you, it's coming from my own perspective based on the things that I've been exposed to. Okay. So a lot of times, women, if you are bulky like myself, I only speak from my own perspective a lot of times, okay? You aren't supposed to be eating. I could share the story with my mother. My grandmother used to talk about the story. Thank you, my love. Powdered food, water, food shortage. Okay, no need. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, Lauren said it. Wait, what'd you say? Lauren said powdered food, fruit, water, food storage. No need to canned food. Right on, mama. Right on, Lauren. Most women who are positive roosts, and this comes with lunar and brown women, but mostly brown women. Eating isn't something we're supposed to do. We aren't supposed to do. That's a very archaic form of taking in nutrients. We get nutrients from the binary system, not the fake sun, not the artificial sun that's in the sky. I'm not talking about the sun simulator 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm talking about the actual sun that we used to coexist under before other forms of colonizers came here and created an artificial sun to harvest some of our energy and make us depleted, so that we had to eat. Okay, so that isn't how we used to take in nutrients and energy. We literally were taking it in as a plant did, because we are connected to the Mother Terra, and we were able to take in photons from the binary system, from the solar two of the solar fixtures, the natural ones in the sky, and we would take it in, and during the night we would create our nutrients. Okay, so we weren't eating. That's why when you see brown women get bulked up, listen, I could eat nothing. Many of you saw me fast for 30 days. I look like a regular person, because food isn't how we're not supposed to eat. We are supposed to take in energy. And if you think this is a lie and I'm making this up, why don't you see and start to study metaphysics when you know that other beings are eating energy? There are beings here who create chaos to eat your energy. They literally do it to feed off of your energy. So if you think that's so far-fetched, why do you acknowledge the fact that there are beings, reptilian, insectilian, other beings, fourth dimensional beings that eat your energy, archonic beings that feed on that, and they can sustain themselves, but you don't believe that a humanoid who is literally an heirloom from the planet is able to take in energy in order to create nutrition. Okay, that's why many heirlooms who are from this planet, especially positive roots, when we eat food here, we bulk up. We aren't to eat. And we have to change the way our system takes in nutrients. My mother talked about this with me when I was a child. Thank you, my love. Goddess said, souls who can't hitch out will be sucked by 5G. You were right on point. She's trying to pull me in there. You're right on point. Exactly. So for those of us, I will say to you, positive roots in Africa, I barely ate exactly anything. I was fine. O negative. Okay, so were you O negative? You're O negative or you're O positive? O negative. Okay, O negative. So reminder, we aren't to eat like that. We are supposed to take in energy. That's why when it's hottest in the summer, you notice you aren't as hungry, but you're fine. Okay. If you notice when we're getting the most sun inundation of magnetic energy, we aren't as hungry because we're taking in the energy. Okay. You could kind of go into this philosophy. It's not a philosophy, it's what I know is true. I know when I'm not eating, I'm actually healthier than when I'm eating the archaic GMO, geo-engineered food on this planet. Hey Jeannie, hey my love. There aren't many foods here on this planet that are natural. And big up to our wonderful sea star who comes on Zoom with us. She stated about the chickens of mass destruction. And let me just tell you something. I know you all get mad at me. Please put a like on the video if you up for the shenanigans today. Let me just say something. One of the things that I love about this particular sea star, and I don't know if she wants me to mention her name, but she comes on, she's one of the most seasoned sea stars, and she shares something about us with chickens and mass destruction. And, you know, I'm just going to give you a little bit before I go in, because I know I'm talking about the mystery schools, but I have so much to share with you, so it kind of sidebars into so many different layers of conversation. Chickens are weaponized for brown people. Chickens were weaponized for brown people. It helps to keep brown people limited, cognitively and consciously. It's a weapon for melanin, okay? It's a fact. I'm 1000% sure about that. And when our sea star talked about, and she talked about the fact that most chickens have lesions on them. They have cancer, big, huge cancers on them. That's why they sell half a chicken to you, because the other half has lesions on it. That's why they break up quarters into your chicken, because they have lesions on them. The chickens, all the cancer has gone spiked up in people's bodies because they've been eating chicken. Okay. Blood pressure and all that stuff for a lot of brown people goes up because you're eating chicken. Everybody thinks chicken was who taught you that? You know who taught you that? The dark Kabbalists taught you that chicken was healthier than everything eating. It basically has lesions. That's why they don't give you whole chickens. The best chicken, and this is a sea star, big up to her, who gave us this information. I could take zero credit. You know, I have an issue with chicken already because I knew it was something diabolical. But chickens have cancer cells all over them. And because of the way that they've been biologically GMO'd, they are literally cancer. You're eating cancer. Okay? So Why they sell it to you in pieces, because they can't sell you the whole piece, because some of the other chicken have lesions on it. They don't want you knowing that. If you're going to eat chicken, you should buy a whole chicken, so at least you can see the skin is filled with lesions. Okay, so if you keep eating chicken of mass destruction, and listen, like I said to you again, and soy feed, that's another thing. That's why a lot of our males are feminized. That's why males are doing their nails and wearing lip gloss rather than going out and fighting for the cause. Okay, I don't trust any man that eats chicken all the time, okay? Because his balls of mass destruction will have problems. And if you keep having sex with men who, wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I just went left. I'm sorry. Please bring the children out of the room because Fleurbrun's about to go left. Can you please, are there children in the room? Please, if you have children in the room. I just went left. I'm sorry. Let me apologize to anyone in the room. I didn't mean to do that. Please put your earbuds on. You know, sometimes I will always give you warnings, but I didn't expect to go there. I'm sorry. So let me give you a minute to take the little ones out of the room. Okay. And please put a like on the video if you're up for the conversation and you want more of what I want to discuss. Okay. The little ones out of the room. Everyone has their earbuds on, please. Okay. And fathers, please. I know that sometimes you think what I'm sharing is appropriate, but I don't want I want the little ones to only hear things that they're qualified to listen to. Some of the things I speak about are inappropriate for them. Okay. Right, Kay? Where's Carlin? Hey, Carlin. Okay. Okay. All right. So, I know you sun stars always think I come for you. You know what's so crazy? You call me a lesbian all the time. Some of you, some of the men will say, you're a darn lesbian. I love men. I mate with a man. I had children with a man. I was married and had children with a man. I sleep with a man every night. So if you think that I'm a lesbian because I speak truth about things that need to be addressed, that some people are so scared because they don't want their numbers to go down in their channel, you're very confused. I love real men. I love healthy men. I love virile men. I love men that are here to nurture and to protect us on this planet. The problem is that we have a lot of men that are inundated with a lot of soy, so they're more busy on social media than they are protecting their neighborhoods. That's the issue. And if you want more feminine women, like I've talked about before, if you want women to act more feminine, then we need more masculine men. A woman is only able to be as feminine as the masculinity of the men around her. Okay, so if you want soft, squishy women that want to service you and love you and honor you and provide all the nourishment for you, you have to be a man. Okay, so if you're eating chicken of mass destruction, then your balls of mass destruction are a problem. And anybody having sex with these men and allowing the men to release their semen inside of them, you are going to have issues. So you have to remember that if he's eating a large amount of inundation of soy, he is basically a cancer cell. Okay, so men have to watch eating soy and eating chicken, because chicken is weaponized for brown people. That's why it's on every brown neighborhood. That's why your churches, all your religious Christian fasts, is always serving it inside of your churches, and they're having it all over the place because they want to inundate you with chicken so that they can perpetually keep you limited and also sick. Okay, because melanin is very regenerative. People with melanin, that's why people with melanin, and someone said, oh, the extraterrestrials or something. No, the people, extraterrestrials don't age. You know that, right? And tell me the one people on this planet that haven't any aging process. They have the most slow down aging process is the people who are hypermelanated. Okay, so if you want to talk about people that have more of a type of long-standing, non-aging quality, it's people who are hypermelanated. Okay, the only time you see people aging who have melanin is if and even if they are, I've seen crackheads who were crackheads for like 20 years who still look like they're 20 and when they're 50. So it doesn't always happen, but I'm just saying if they're aging, it's usually something internally happening, meaning they get sick, they have high blood pressure and all that stuff. Stop eating chicken of mass destruction. I told you, they have lesions all on them. And if you don't believe me, go inside some of these chicken facilities. Go inside of a chicken factory and smell it. Tell me how you feel. So you think you're going to eat something? You think you're going to eat chicken, but you can't go inside a facility because you would get sick. You would throw up. That's how toxic it is in there. And if it's toxic for you just going in for a moment, could you imagine the birds that are being abused and stockpiled in there on top of each other and what they're breathing in? You wonder why they have lesions all over their body, because they're in there smelling all kinds of fecal material being chemicalized and pumped up with all kinds of hormones and soy. And then you wonder why there's issues inside of people who eat chicken of mass destruction. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go back into mystery schools. Please hit a like on my video. I'm sorry. I went left. I apologize. If I'm bothering you and you have an issue with me and my truth, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm a triple Sag, and if truth isn't something that you can handle, from my perspective, this may not be the channel for you. It may not. Okay. Okay, so let's go into that. Also, so chicken has been weaponized for brown people. It's a weapon that was created. It's a genetically homogenized weapon that has been created to hamper and to destabilize the genetic quality of people who are hypermelanated. Okay, and also why they are harvesting melanin, which I found out when I entered into one of the mystery schools last night from not sleeping for days. Big up to the crew, who sometimes we stay here for days. And then what it does is it allows me to enter into different portals or different realms. But what I found out is that the reason why they're harvesting melanin isn't totally for the reason I thought. I thought, well, they're doing it to sustain themselves. I found out, no, it's because they want to access your cellular memories. Because people with hyper amount of melanin have been on this planet longer than anyone else. And they have cellular memories that are here last pole shift. And because of that, they're accessing the memories so that they can try to figure out how to hijack or to piggyback off of the melanin. So the reason why they're harvesting the melanin is to hijack. That's why the sea star who was on point, she didn't know I was going to discuss that. She's telepathically in sync with me frequency wise. She's on the same channel. So she turned on the channel, you know, like, and she's on the same channel. That's how she was able to know that. So they're hijacking they're harvesting the melanin from all of these people. That's why they were kidnapping all these brown people. That's why brown men, police officers were getting paid $60,000 to kill off a brown man as long as he wasn't brain dead and take out his organs, his lungs, his spleen, and they were placing into people who didn't have melanin so that they can access the cellular memory so that they would be able to be surviving the pole shift. Okay, because post pole shift, this planet will be hyper magnetic field. And the only beings who will be able to leave on the surface have to have a qualified amount of melanin. And it needs to be a quality of melanin that is allotted to be able to absorb the gamma radiation when we go into the Van Allen belt. Do you understand? So not all brown people are the same. This is not saying all brown people are going to make it either. Because some brown people don't have that qualified melanin. They have it isn't the same melanin. There's certain kind of melanin that is not melanin. It may look like it's melanin, it's not. It's artificial. And there's people who look seemingly lunar or fair skinned. They got a whole bunch of melanin inside on their organs, protecting them from the radiation of the gamma radiation. So how do you know the difference? Is that, you know, because a couple lunars asked me this question, but there are lunars whose organs are totally covered with melanin. Okay. These are inside out brown people. You know, you usually know them because they just have a connection to things that are very sound frequencies, like rhythm. They're very rhythmic people. They're very what is it? Like frequency sensitive. They aren't numb. Okay. They aren't numb. When people are numb, it means they're artificial. Most of the GMOs that are created, people who are genetically homogenized people, they're numb. That's why they have to jump out of planes. That's why they got to jump out. They got to go and do all these crazy sports. They're the ones who have to, always do these wild things to feel like they're awake. They cut themselves. Those are people who are numb. It's because they're genetically homogenized. Okay, that's all it is. People who are genetically homogenized are numb. They don't have emotional connection to the planet or people. That's why they can see children being murdered and have zero feeling about it. They can see animals being slayed. A lot of these people that you see that are lacking in empathy and sympathy, these are homogenized beings. They've been genetically homogenized, and they're both brown and lunar. Okay, so the brown people haven't been genetically homogenized because you can't replicate melanin. Like you can't hijack the cells of melanin, but what you can do is socially engineer brown people to act crazy or chemicalize brown people. So if you chemicalize brown people generationally, at least five, that's why crack was important. That's why a lot of the children from crack mothers or mothers that were synthetically altered from taking drugs, their children were altered sexually. Okay, a lot of the males that came from people who did a lot of drugs, the children were sexually ambiguous, like especially the males. They came out more feminine. Okay, it changed them alchemically. So you can change brown people socially. So you mess with their you socially engineer them, and you mess with them chemically, biochemically. You can't hijack melanin. That's why when I worked in the laboratory, I can only work on white lab rats. I can work on them and can mess with their cells because it wasn't covered with melanin. When something's covered with melanin, you can't incept it, but I can mess with its environment if it's dark. Okay? Anything that doesn't have melanin, I can incept it genetically. Okay? So that's why you see that there are people on this planet that can see other people die or get murdered or molest children, and they haven't any connection to it and they haven't any emotional stake to it, because most of those beings are genetically homogenized. They've been GMO'd for generations. They haven't any emotional connection to the earth beings or to nature or to children. They're just cold. That's why they do a lot of wild things. Okay? So this is saying we're all equal in how we've been incepted. Brown people have been incepted from the outer perimeters and chemicalized, and lunars have been incepted from from inside genetically. Okay? So everybody's incepted. It's an equal. I'm not talking about one or the other. Nobody's better, because they'll get you somehow. So I'm just saying, people be like, you talking about me? No, I'm talking about everybody, because everybody can be incepted. They just know how to incept you. Okay? So let's go into the mystery schools. Please put a like on the video if you're up for the shenanigans. So let's go into the mystery schools. So the mystery schools are now open for enrollment. Many of you are getting interviewed by scouts. Scouts are now out. Now, scouts will come in different forms. Now, let me state this. When there's scouting systems, there are different types of scouts, and there are several different types of mystery schools. Genetically, some of you are tied to lineages of the dragons. Some of you are tied to the lineages of some of the celestials. Okay, some are multitude of different types of energetic beings that may be in the same school. So it depends, but there are many different mystery schools. They are now open. So whatever you come from is where you most likely will be scouted. The scouts from those schools will come to interview you. Okay, so it's likened to that of X-Men. I don't know if you saw X-Men before. Some of you saw X-Men. If you get a chance to see X-Men, X-Men talks about that process. I think when you saw some of the beings from the X-Men school, they would go and they knew of someone having abilities. Because people ask me all the time, how do they know to come to you? Everything is known. The only people that are asleep are us. That's why you have to be reinitiated into these programs. Now, know that those who are older, who have more qualified DNA, you aren't in need of studying anything. Okay, the beings that have hijacked a lot of the information from ancient Kemet, ancient Sumeria, are literally beings that haven't any cellular memory, so they have to study books. They have to read information. They have to hijack it and steal it from informational, archives. Beings like myself, and yes, like myself, people always ask me, how do you know things? I have cellular memory that I can access because my ancestors have been on this planet previous to many of the colonizing beings here. So I have access to my cellular memories. So what someone may have to read 20 books for, I can access in my cellular DNA. Okay, so there are different, and I can read things and learn things that maybe I don't have the information that may be more current information that I need. Because I remember we were talking about analog and digital, and I was saying to everyone, I was born an analog being with a converter to bring in digital into my system. But I'm more comfortable in analog because I can access information in my cellular DNA like someone has to access it through the AI and artificially. I access things internally and biologically and harmonically and naturally what someone has to do artificially. Digital people who have to use digitalized information have to access things outwardly because they don't have the cellular memories or the cellular data to access it. So they have to always import it. They have to get it access from an outer perimeter, from another source. I am source. Okay, that's not to say I'm better. I'm just saying my cellular memory is a lot of the reason why I know things. I remember sitting down with Thomas one time. Big up to Thomas. Many of you know my Thomas is from Norway, and I remember we were sitting down with Thomas, and Thomas was like, "Wow, it's so interesting." He was like, what you know intrinsically and internally, I have to learn through books and learning and education. Intellect is totally different from people. People give a lot of props to people who are intellectual, but there isn't a lot of acknowledgement to those who have a natural knowing, an internal knowing. What someone has to learn through several books, someone else can know from their genetic makeup. Okay, so for that being said, it's okay. Listen, I'm not saying one information is better than the other. If you can get the information externally, it's all good. But there are people who it is a necessity for them to read 30 million books. They can access this because my cellular memory is coming from every ancestor that I've incarnated into and come from. So because I've been here long on this planet and my ancestors have been here and preceded many others, my ancestral memories and cellular memories are much more robust than those who are not as long standing on this planet. So that being said is why the harvesting of melanin is really appropriate to many who aren't having access to the Akashic records. Akashic records are in DNA of those who have the literal Akashic records are inside the warehouse of someone who has a hyper amount of melanin, whereas someone else who needs to access the Akashic record, it's outside of their physical plane. Okay. That being said, melanin does matter. So, I hear people say a lot of negative things about people who are walking around with dark matter as their blanket on their skin, but it matters. That's why a lot of your occultists have to wear black when they do rituals, because they're trying to mimic the very thing that some people naturally have. That's why blackness and darkness has been demonized on this planet, because they have to cloak its importance, because if they didn't do that, you would know that that means something. Okay? So that being said, a lot of the harvesting that's happening now has to do with them hijacking cellular memories so that they can piggyback into the future of ascension past pole shift. Okay? Okay, let's go into the mystery schools. So, mystery schools. There is one particular mystery school that's in Romania, which I know some of our Slavic family and our Eastern European family are being interviewed right now. We have two young ladies who are from the DNA, from the genetic disposition, genetic blueprint. My head is here. Genetic blueprint that are literally being interviewed as we speak. Some of the questions they were being asked is, how do you see? It's weird questions. It's interesting because that question to someone who is qualified to be in a mystery school is different than someone who is matrix based. So I think one of the questions she told me, one of the young ladies asked, and they're more Eastern European. So one is she's Slavic. She's mixed with Ukrainian and I think it's German. I think it's German and Ukrainian. So the question that one of the scouts asked her is, how do you see? And I can't tell you because it's not appropriate, but the answer that she gave was out of this world. And literally she got a call back already. So she's probably most likely going to be picked and chosen to enter into the mystery school. Her answer was out of this world. Like, I was like, what? I was like, it wasn't even anything. That's what I'm saying. She's qualified. And they will literally, when they interview, it isn't in the way that you cryptically would get interviewed at a job, like a matrix job, or it's something totally different. They understand and understand who you are genetically. And what they're trying to figure out is if you are trainable, if you're open and you're receptive to training yourself to higher planes of consciousness. Because once we go post pole shift, it won't be to the level of what we are now. We will be moving things with our minds. We will be walking around with our celestial family. There won't be any mere cloaking. You will see snake beings, spider beings, mermaids. You will see fairies. You will see people who are able to walk on air. You will see people that are air benders. I mean, literally everything that was considered to be supernatural or sci-fi will be how our plane of existence will be. Okay, you will see beings that have a multitude of bodies that kind of shift into itself and out of itself. Okay, that's the world, and let me talk about that. The fact of the matter is, like I said, that was one of there's a Romanian mystery school. I've always talked about this one. This is the one that I really, really love because I know I've seen some of the past professors in the etheric realms. One looks like a crane being. That's why I put the crane in my picture. Looks like a crane. It's like a bird being, beautiful bird being, and he's a professor. So it's wonderful. So anyone from that blood lineage, and you will know because you'll feel connected to when I talk to you, of those who are going to be interviewed and scouted for the Romanian school of it's called the Romanian School of Pathways. I think it's the Romanian School of Pathways. I think that's what it's called. Was it called that? I think it's called the Romanian School of Pathways. Don't quote me on that. I think it's called that. If I know, you will be interviewed, and some of you already know. Like I said, a couple of the sea stars, two of them, I know are being scouted right now. I know some of the questions that were asked. I thought they were profound because the questions weren't such a big deal, but the answers were. Okay. That's in Europe, and if you know why I say Romania. Romania is one of the most powerful witches of the European sect. It is in Romania. She's one of the most powerful. I think she's like the queen of, like, if you see there's different etheric realms. She's one of the ones who kind of is the one that is given the most props amongst the Illuminatis. They worship her, even her phenotype. So she's long standing. She's like a whisper in the air. You don't even hear her name. You hear her as a whisper. She's probably the one heading that program. I don't know for sure, but I know one of the most powerful witches is from Romania. Not the most. She's one of the most powerful witches, especially in the European sect. And I know that the beings that go to that Romania school are the baddest. They're bad. Okay. There's one that's located in the Cape. Cape Town. I think it's it's in the etheric state of Cape Town. I think it's outside. Remember, a lot of the mystery schools aren't. Look at her. Look at this woman. She stalks me. Hold on. I got one of these agent Smithitarians. She only comes out when I'm in the car. It's like she knows. Like Willy Wonka calls her and it's like, put your headphones on. Put your headphones on. She's out there talking. She's telling them about the mystery schools. Okay. Anyway, so the one outside of Cape Town in South Africa, that one I know has a lot of aquatic beings. Because remember, if you go back in her story, I want to say history, in her story. In South Africa, there's a big interface with the Mer family, mermaids, and in Scotland too. I have to say, Scotland, I got some intel about Scotland. Please remind me about the intel in Scotland, please. And it's connected to some of the Jamaicans who are living in Jamaica and the Scottish that are living in Scotland and outside of Ireland. Please remind me because I want to remember, but I don't want to go there now. So there's a school that's obviously, remember, a lot of the mystery schools are interdimensional. You aren't going to see them on the surface. Now, the one in Romania, I think people can actually see, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to try to get that intel for you, maybe the picture, and I'll put it on either Instagram or on here. The one in Romania, I think, is a physical school that can actually be seen. It's on top of one of the highest peaks, and it can be seen. I'm almost sure about that one, the one in Romania. I don't think it's cloaked. Because Romania is not a very populated place. So I think that's why it's not as cloaked. I think it's more of a physical school than one that's interdimensionally cloaked. Okay. The one in South Africa is literally between the dimensions. Okay, so that one I know has a lot of aquatic beings. It has a lot of people who are connected to Aquaterra on the water worlds, connected to a lot of the inner earth beings. Okay, so I know that those who have access to that school, who are being scouted for that school, are very connected to the Mers and the Alpha Centaurians. Okay, both, and they're not just positive roosts. There's negative Rooses going to that school as well, because there's connection to the Alpha Centaurians. The Sirius B crew, who's located in those areas between South Africa and what is it? South Africa and no, it's oh my gosh, it's not Benin. It's oh, I hate when I forget. It's I think it starts with a D. I mentioned to you guys before. I can't remember it. Okay, so anyway, it's in West Africa, but it's like it's in West Africa, but it's on the top, and it used to be a German town. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I want to see if anybody knows. Oh, I hate when I forget. I wanted to mention it because it's a very important town. City in West Africa. It's right above South Africa. No, it's not Madagascar. It's not Togo. I think it starts with a D. One of you will get it. I'll get it. Maybe it'll come into my mind. What is it? It'll come to my mind. Nimbia. Thank you. German in Nimbia was in Nimbia. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. You were okay. Thank you. It was in Nimbia. Thank you. Nimbia. Thank you. No, they got it because when I said Nambia. Yeah, Nambia. Ooh, thank you. Because remember, the Germans were there. Now, mind you, family, the Germans were given intel from future tall whites and future beings who told them the pinnacle places to go. They knew where the mystery schools were because a lot of them were giving intel, the Nazis. Okay, hold on. Thank you, baby. I gotta cover you up. Thank you. Go that word. Yeah, I did. Okay. So the Germans knew places to go. That's why the pinnacle places there in Argentina and Africa, they knew. Okay, so Nambia, which is right above South Africa, is one of the places in between the dimensions. That's why they're over there, because the mystery school's over there. So you have a lot of the mystery beings who are being scouted. Many of you are connected to the Alpha Centaurians, to the beings in Sirius, really Sirius B. You guys are being scouted. So as far as I know, I don't know the scouting process for you guys. I know that they're being disseminated to go into that school, and that school doesn't normally open up. Wait, is Nambia in the Congo? I'm talking about the place right above South Africa. You guys can just verify yourself. I'm not going to ponder on it too much. Okay, so the process of the school goes through in South Africa is way different. The beings are different, and I know they're connected to Sirius B. So do know that if you're being scouted for that particular school, it's one of the hardest schools to get into. And also, their curriculum is something out of this world. It's interterrestrial curriculum. It's interterrestrial curriculum. Okay, so for those who are being scouted for that one, that's one of the hardest schools to get into, mystery schools to get into. It isn't ever their open enrollment. I haven't ever known them having an open enrollment. I'm talking about as far as I've ever been incarnated. I've never heard them having open enrollment, but now they do. Okay, so that one would be interesting. So anybody who's more aqua-based, aquatarian-based, probably connected to the elementals, I'm assuming. I'll hear about it as time goes on because I speak to many people. So a lot of you talk to me, and I know who's scouting you based on some of the questions that are being asked of you and the interviewers. So I'll find out more about that, and I'll mention that later on a later feed. Now, our Scottish family, our Irish. Where's my Irish family? Where's my Scotties? My Scotty and my Irish. Okay. Now, for many of you don't know, why I bring up the Jamaicans and some of the Caribbean people in relation to the Irish and the Scotties, is because they're mixed with those people. Now, many of you know that the leprechauns, which weren't little lunar beings, they were red-headed, brown, pygmy-looking beings with lots of gold, like beefed up, chipped, like big, like gold teeth, like looking like Mr. T. They look like a mini version of Mr. T. Those beings in Scotland, there's an open portal that's now opening up wide where things are being sucked in. Like literally it's looking like a see-through, like you looking at the trees, it literally looks like things are like permeating through, like doubling up. There's a huge portal opening up in Scotland. And the blood lineage, I believe it's, why I say the Irish are connected to it, because it's all in that arena. There's, what town is it? I think it starts with a T. They have a portal opening up. And that has to do with the mystery schools that are over there in that neck of the woods. I think it's literally because, now I personally think why there's a portal opening up there is because we're going through a shift. But I think because when I found out there was open enrollment, it made sense that maybe that's how, once that portal's open, it allows for the scouts to come out to do their job. Like it's literally a more physical looking portal than most. It's not as concrete, but you can see it. So people are denoting it. They're seeing it. People are taking pictures of it. I had a picture that was in my other phone, so I'm going to try to upload that. I got to remember all these things. But there's a portal opening up, and I personally think, this is my opinion. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Okay. Oh wait, Fleur, don't forget to check DMS. Got head out. Okay, I'll check my DMs. Wait, is it on IG? Wait, hold on, love. Olivia, is it on IG? Am I checking my DM on IG, or is it on FB? Just let me know. Okay. Okay. So please don't quote me on this. That's my personal, I think, why the portals open in Scotland is because I think when their scouts come out, it's more of a physical kind of thing. I think it has to be open in that way. I think it just doesn't get open I think because we're going through the shift, also the veil is wide open. And that's also why I think some of these mystery schools are open, is because the veil is wide open. So remember, we're going into United Fakes of America, our Halloween season, which literally is when our portals are open, wide open. So the ancestors can come inside and out. Okay, so you will start to see, if you haven't seen any interdimensional or ghosts, you like to call them ghosts. They're just beings that haven't really, that can kind of come through in and out of the other realms, other realms. That's all it is. Some ghosts have always been here, but their physical, their visual hasn't been, we haven't been able to see them. So during the time when the veil is really, 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 really non-existent, we have more of a permissible view of them, and we can feel them more. So if you're getting all kinds of, if you're getting, touches and sounds, if you're hearing things in a house, if, you're starting to see things in the side of your eye, most likely it's because the veil is open now. I always say at this time, instead of practicing other people's rituals, because the other people who practice these rituals know very well how to make things and to accomplish their goals of whatever diabolicalness they're doing. That's why keep your children, listen to me, family, keep your children close to you at this point, because remember, they harvest children at this time. That's why it's almost like Hansel and Gretel. That's why I always give you children goodies and sweets. They plump them up to eat them energetically. Okay, so keep your children. If you want to do anything, if you celebrate that the pagan holiday, then do things inside your own house so you can keep watch on your children, because children are one of the biggest commodities in the occult rituals. Okay, and right now, because children aren't as accessible because of cucarachis and all the parents who are now becoming more responsible, they are having a harder time getting access to children like they could before. So make sure you're keeping your children inside, as you know, keep them close to home, or just watch them a little closer, because the pedophiles and the creepers are it's not so much the pedophiles that are doing this at this time of the year. These are the harvester of children. If you want to get an idea, watch Hansel and Gretel, how the witch, they went to the house was made of candy. Candy is basically, you know, a drug. Okay, so it's to sedate them, make them less aware. Okay, and as soon as she fattened them up, what was she going to do? She was going to put them as a stew. She's going to eat them up. Okay, same thing as Halloween. So just make sure if you do anything, I think Halloween is an amazing time of year. Like I said, last year, this time of year, we were in New Orleans having a wonderful masquerade ball. It was beautiful. I enjoyed it. Everyone who came, thank you so much for coming to the last year's event. Fleur, when will you be able to go on IG? I think tonight. Maybe tonight. Let me see. What's tonight? Maybe tonight, Saki. Saki, I may be able to go tonight on IG. If you guys are down. I think my mate. It's I could probably do tonight, Saki. I think tonight. I'll see I'll tentatively say tonight. Okay. I'm doing well, Lily. How you doing, Mama? Okay, so our Scottish family, what I'm saying is that the lineage of the Scotties who are connected to Jamaica and places in the Caribbean, I will say to you, she see the doggy. You are having dreams right now of Scotland, of castles, of places that are really green. So I would say, and why I say that is I'm connecting to some of the lineage in the Caribbean, because a lot of the Jamaicans, the Bahamians, who else? The Saint people from St. Croix, St. Vincent, St. Thomas, Barbados. You have actually the blood lineage of those from Scotland and Ireland, and you are being scouted for that particular area of mystery school. So if you're having dreams about being in green grasslands and big rolling hills and castles, that's because you're being procured and having memories of that particular area, and you most likely will be scouted if you're in that awareness and if you're qualified to go to that particular mystery school that I think that portal is open for. Okay, so yeah, I always say, because a lot of times, again, our Scottish family and Irish family, you are connected to some of the Caribbean family, because remember the pirates were Irish, and the Scotty pirates that were going all through the Caribbean were mixing and mating with the beautiful indigenous women of the Caribbean and the Africana women. So they made beautiful babies, and that's why you see such a beautiful spectrum of look in the Caribbean, especially in the Northern Caribbean, in Jamaica and Puerto Rico too. Puerto Rico, you have a lot of the Irish in you too. Even though you mix with a lot of the Spaniards, you still mix with a lot of the Irish too. A lot of you have that mixture as well. So do write down, like I said, document. And some of you have to realize that it isn't just you as an adult who's going to these mystery schools. You might have been part of the academia already, and your children are being solicited for those schools. So some of you don't remember being in the schools, but you actually graduated from some of these mystery schools, and your children are now being solicited and scouted to go to the same schools that you went to when you were little. So if you are already acclimated to the higher forms of metaphysics and higher consciousness and awareness, most likely you may have your children coming to you say, "Mommy, I dreamt about like a professor, some sort of professor who was floating, coming to me and asking me questions." Those are probably the reason why, because you went to school, or your husband went to that school, or the grandmother went to that school. So the mystery schools are not just for children or adults. It's a mixture between the two. It depends. Okay? So what does this mean that we have open enrollment for these mystery schools? What this means is that the end of the cycle is literally there. We have ended the cycle. Hold on. Oh, she was playing with her?
Mom, she
Yeah.
had a baby.
Oh, you
She
met the
didn't
baby?
jump on her.
No? You met the baby?
She was good. She didn't jump on her. She just sniffed her.
She sniffed her a little bit. You
She
sniffed
sniffed
him?
him.
Sniffed him? He was cutie, right? He's a chunkabunka. He's a chunkabunka. Okay. All right. Go get some more. Make sure she has some nice cold water, okay? Okay.
Wait, tell everyone I said hi.
Okay. So my little one who's holding to school says hi to all of her new friends that will be on Zoom tomorrow. So let me make another announcement. For those who are entering to Zoom meet and greet tomorrow, for the little people, my daughter is heading that Zoom group. All you have to do is register on my Patreon, and the meet up for the children will be tomorrow from 2 to 3:30. Okay, and if they enjoy it and they have a good time, we'll do it once a month, but we may do it twice a month if they really like it. And again, the ages are anywhere from 7 to 14. The discussion tomorrow will be spirit animals, okay? And they will actually probably, my daughter wants to discuss the whole Harry Potter theme as well, which goes into the mystery school. So it'll be fun. And this will give a chance for your children to meet other children that are in that awareness. Sometimes they get a little lonely because children that are aware aren't really suitable for children that aren't. And it makes them feel a little lonely. You know, it can make them feel like they aren't in alignment. So, so anyway, we'll see you tomorrow at 2 to 3. And tomorrow night, for anyone who's going to be on a regular Zoom, if for the mommies and daddies, if you're signing up for the Zoom, remember, once you sign up for my Patreon, you can go and enter our other adult Zoom group. We're going to be watching Lovecraft tomorrow night. So if you've not seen Lovecraft, I binge watched it. It was a phenomenal show. So if you are the mommy and daddy and you're signing up your little ones for the Zoom group tomorrow, you can chill out with us because we're going to do our Zoom group that night at 9 p.m. And you can kind of join us. We're going to watch Lovecraft together. And, we always do oh, wait, we're supposed to go earlier. Is Alicia on here? Alicia, is it tomorrow? Oh, wait, the finale. What time? What time is it? The finale is at 8. I think we're going to have to meet up earlier than, it's going to be at 8. So I'm going to find out what time the Lovecraft finale is. Whatever time the finale is, that's what time we're going to meet up. Like, we'll meet up like a half an hour or an hour before the show finale. So we meet up, we eat snacks, we talk smack. It's enjoyable. And Sun Stars, you are welcome to join us. Only the brave ones. We only have 2. Big up to Bruce and to Jose. Those are the only ones who are kind of brave to join us. A lot of guys are a little nervous because of our sea stars are such, we're a little saucy, but you're more than welcome, We do appreciate healthy male energy. So if you up for the shenanigans, we're going to be on tomorrow night. Okay, so why do the mystery schools matter? Mystery schools matter is because at the time when we're ending cycles, so why there's open enrollment is we're ending the cycle. So now there's a opening for the schools in the higher planes of existence because a lot of people are going to be acclimated to the abilities necessary in order to coexist in 5D plus. Post pole shift and the post ascension, after the Zion party that I plan to throw post pole shift, we will now be acclimated to engaging with beings that have always known we've existed, but we haven't been necessarily aware of their existence. The cloak is down. So if you're looking for people to show up as humanoids, many of the beings that in your life you haven't realized aren't even human. Some of them they aren't even real. Okay, there are robotoids living around you. You weren't aware. There are reptilians that are cloaking themselves. You haven't been aware. There are insectilians, zeta reticulans, grays. There are a host of beings, inner earth beings, interterrestrial beings, tall whites. These are beings that we've all been interfacing with, and there's a host of beings that literally have been living amongst us that aren't even nameable because we're not even aware of their existence. Okay, it's not just the beings that we have names for, it's the ones that we don't that are going to bug you out. So many people are going to be entering into these school districts and spiritual school districts in order to get acclimated and also to become more proficient in engaging in the world that is more supernaturally based. Okay, so we won't be archaically doing things. A lot of the ways that we'll be eating and drinking will be different. Like I said, for many women, especially women of color, food will become a way of the past because many of us take in energy and we will look more like our celestial or our earthly bodies are supposed to, as opposed to being chemicalized and genetically homogenized through the artificial foods of the colonizers who've just created these nutritional bases to keep us furtherly, indoctrinated and capped consciously and sick. Okay, so I've talked about chickens and mass destruction. Marcia, big up to Marcia on Zoom, one of our more seasoned sea stars, who brought up the fact that most chickens are cancerous and have a host of boils and cysts and lesions on them, and they have utilized they have utilized chicken to as a weapon against people of color, because it bothers people of color more so than people who have less melanin. So it is weaponized for people who are melanites. It is meant to make you sick. They were homogenized specifically for people of color. And people think that's crazy. You can look into the histories of chicken. These are birds that don't fly. They aren't natural. You're not eating chickens that are brown living in Hawaii or in the Polynesian Islands that have brown eyes, red or brown feathers. Where the chickens that you are eating are literally white chickens with pink eyes. And they smell like ammonia. Okay? When you go inside of a chicken coop with those unnatural chickens, all chicken coops have a funky smell. But when you go inside of these chicken factories, you can't find me on Patreon. In my description box for anyone who's registering in Patreon, just go to my description box. Patreon is there. So just click on the link in my description box. I put the link there. So you should be able to go there. It smells like ammonia. It does. So I'm just telling you, for those who are engaging in chicken and mass destruction, you are literally, especially if you're a melanin type person, remember, they utilize it. That's why churches like to give you lots of chicken, because they want to make sure that you're getting your daily dose of cancer, so you can be further capped consciously and you can be chemicalized to keep you from rising to your highest and greatest potential. Okay? So chicken and mass destruction literally has a new face of lesions. So when you think of chickens, that's why they're always promoted to you. That's why it's in every brown community. You got churches chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken. You got, that's why the Kentucky Fried Chicken looks like a straight KKK Klansman. The Klansman face is on Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're telling you who that chicken was meant for. So, like I said, if you want to keep eating chicken, that's your business. But you shouldn't say I didn't share it with you. And the reason why they were initiating people to eat more clean, it wasn't to make you a vegan. It was literally getting you into more breatharianism. I think veganism was a form of cleansing certain people out, but it can also make you very sick, because you're eating funguses and plants that are depreciative of having any nutrition, because their soil is so devoid, and eating that also makes you nanobot friendly. But when you fast and you aren't eating anything and you are learning the process of breatharianism, that is more of how some of our ancestors were coexisting. So, like I said, if you think I'm talking smack, I'm not telling you not to eat. I told you I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you that I know for the majority of women of color, and you can look at, and if you think I'm lying, I want you to look at the masses of women of color on this planet. And for most of them, they're bulky because they're eating things that are causing inflammation. Women of color were not meant to eat food. We were meant to absorb the sun, and that was our main source of nutrition, gaining nutrition. Okay? Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my love. Okay, wait. Hunter Biden got exposed because his laptop got water damage, and it was covering it. Found out he was doing cocaine off a child's what? He was doing cocaine off a child's what? Listen, let me explain something. I told y'all Gazoo was some sort of like artificial intelligence. He had wires of mass destruction all up his sleeves. That is disgusting. Why are we shocked? You know what I'm saying to y'all? Why are you shocked? I don't know why anyone's shocked that politicians who were chosen by dark Kabbalists and occultists are having sex with children and sniffing coke off their bums. That shouldn't be shocking. Any person who hangs out with pedophiles, with men who have small penile, small wands, because most men who engage in that type of activity with children have small wands. They have wands that are literally are non-existent. Okay? So they're all perverts in the if you think that any politician that is up there is for your benefit, you are very confused. And I know that you aren't getting procured by any mystery schools because you still think politicians have some control and they actually are here for the betterment of the planet. If they were good for the planet, why are they still getting their checks and bonuses during a time when most people lost their jobs from St. G and cucarachas? If they were for the benefit of the planet, wouldn't they have donated their checks and said, oh my God, everyone's getting sick. You know what? We won't take our bonuses and we'll cut our salary so that we can help out with people who are losing their jobs. Why won't they do that? They were buying new parts for their yachts and flying their children over to the Fiji Islands so they could have sex with the Saudis. All of them. Y'all still believe in all this nonsense with politics. You keep, and I know when your consciousness is limited, if you even think politics is real. All of them hang out with pedophiles. Any man that has sex with children and animals is a socially engineered demon. Okay? There are any man who leaves his family and harms children or beats women is a socially engineered demon. Okay? Men who like to stick their wands up a rear end where poop comes out, these are men that are socially engineered demons. Okay? And women who allow it. Okay? If you think that's normal, people are like, oh, how are you saying these things? Oh, Fleurbrun, you are so prejudiced. If I'm prejudiced for telling you that having sex up your anal cavity isn't normal when poop comes out of it, then let me be abnormal. See, the problem is you've been all socially engineered to make light of things that are sick. There isn't anything normal about a 50-year-old man being with a 25-year-old woman. There isn't anything normal about men wanting to hang out in churches and act like they don't want to have sex, and then they're molesting the nuns, taking porn shops on the pews, and having sex with the little children that you allow to be the poster boys of their little perversions. It's a sick world. Listen, if you want to make that normal in your life and you want to be politically correct for thinking that these things are normal, then that's your business. You think it's healthy for people to not like themselves and to suffer from low self-esteem and want to change their gender because they don't like themselves. If I don't like myself as a brown woman and I bleach myself blonde hair and bleach my skin, you would call me a self-hating brown woman. But you will make a whole platform saying it's okay for children to get sex changed at 9 and 10 because they don't like themselves. That's called lack of self-esteem. Why don't we deal with the self-esteem issues? This whole society is flip mode. This platform is not for the weak and for the meek. It isn't. I'm not here telling you that I should be. Listen, some of you say, oh my God, she's fat. She shouldn't be talking about this. You're a fatty who drinks Starbucks. Listen, I'm a natural woman. I gave birth to natural children. And if you don't like a natural woman who does natural things and sleeps with natural men, then this is not the platform for you. Okay? There's nothing that I say that I think that is out of control. I love children. I love animals. I'm very protective of the environment. I'm very respectful to my elders. There isn't anything I say to here to insult you or treat you nasty. I don't call you names because you have a different complexion, because you speak a different tongue, you come from a different religion. But I darn skippy won't sit here with your with these low field inverted behaviors and act like they're normal. You could do whatever you want to do, but I'm just saying they are normal. So if you have friends right now that are having sex with animals or watching pornography of animals or think it's okay to date little children, then you're part of the problem. You are one of them. Okay? So there, gratefully, there isn't anybody in my world that I would kiki with that are doing those things. And if they did, they wouldn't be breathing anymore. Because if you're molesting children and I find out about it and you're in anything that's close to me, you won't be breathing. That's not a promise. That's not a threat. That's a promise. And it won't be me doing anything. It will be the beings and the spiritual beings that are down with me that are protective of children. See, this is the problem. This is the problem. I don't trust any man out here who has uncles and people molesting children, and that man and those people are still walking around or are having 3 meals a day in jails. You aren't a real man if you know someone who's a child molester and that child molester is still walking around with 2 legs, 2 arms, and enjoying the amenities of breathing fresh air. You're not a real man. I kiki with real men. Okay? The men in my life aren't walking around with pedophiles or men that molest children or sleep with women 30 years younger than them. Okay? I'm around real men. And they're not all alphas, but they're real men. Okay? I'm 1000% organic female. I was created from love, from 2 parents who loved each other and who were married over 50 years. I can give you my history and my stamp to my ethical and moral background. I was created out of love. That's why I have a healthy staple of how I perceive things. Okay? So I'm sorry I had to get on y'all. I'm just saying a lot of times people come to me, it's like, oh, Fleurbrun, you're talking about people who are trans. I'm not talking about any trans person. I'm talking about people with low self-esteem. I've had it. I know what that is. Okay? So I know what low self-esteem is. And I know when there's an extreme version of some sociological psychoses going on with people who really don't love themselves. If I'm born a certain way and I don't like myself, that's called lack of self-esteem. And that means the environment and the people around me are not supportive of who I am. And it's probably hurting and hindering me to the point where I don't want to be who I am. All that, I don't know if it's Wade. Who was it? Wade? What was his name? Wade? No. Who was the, which player was it? Was it Wade or, what's the other player? Whose child was having a sex change at 8? What was it? Wade or, what was it? LeBron? Was it LeBron? It was Wade? Oh, it's Wayne Wade. And his transsexual wife. Okay? That's why. Of course, the nasty, home-wrecking transsexual that he would promote something. It's not even his child. What's her name again? Of course she would condone that. She's a transsexual herself. See, the problem is that you socially engineer, you make things normal in your house, and then children mimic that kind of behavior. So Dwayne Wade's wife is a man, in my opinion, transsexual. That's why she was unable to have and give birth to her own natural child, because she didn't have a womb. So you have that unnatural being living in the house and influencing his son with another woman. If he was a good man, he wouldn't be leaving his natural wife, his heirloom wife that was a good woman, for a harlot whore who is a homewrecker, who is literally a transsexual, who's influencing his son to feel like he isn't natural as a boy. That is the problem. It's my opinion. Y'all are all walking around loosey-goosey promoting things that are unnatural. Let me state something. During this post-pole shift, anything that isn't natural to this planet will be gone. Anybody behaving in ways that is unnatural and artificial to the way that they should be in a very biological way will be gone. That is not me saying something negative. That is not me promoting something harmful. If you are engaged in artificial behavior that is against your body, you will not be here. You won't be gone. We're not talking about aliens that come from ambiguous backgrounds. See, the problem is many of you are confused. You know that I talk about aliens that don't have any sex or they're asexual. Those are extraterrestrials. If you come from those backgrounds, you're more likely to be one of them. We're not talking about those. So if you're some sort of hybrid that comes from ambiguous beings that tend to be ambiguous sexually, that's something different. If you are female and you coming up as one of the original females, especially at this time, and you're one of those that are more hermaphroditic, that's different. I'm talking about people who are socially engineered and genetically homogenized to act in ways that are anti-nature. they won't be here. And I'm grateful to that because they will be incarnated in the right bodies that they feel more in sync with. So for those who are outside of their, thank you, my love. Thank you, Crystal. So for those who are outside of their nature, who hate themselves, you will be remedied and recycled so that you will come back in a more cohesive physical form that is more in alignment with who you really think you are. Okay? So it's okay. It's okay. Everybody will be made right. The problem is that they purposefully ruined children, especially males, by chemicalizing the mothers during their pregnancy, and the boys came out with an ambiguous and confused state and more feminine because they've been chemicalized. It is not their fault. Let me state this again. Boys who are victims of chemicalization of their mothers via the womb, it isn't their fault. So you aren't going to treat them nasty because they're showing up. It's like, would you tell a cancer patient you're disgusting and I hate you because you have cancer? You would never say that because it isn't righteous. That person is sick. They've have some sort of disease or some sort of infection that is causing harm to them. So when I talk about these things, I wouldn't ever disrespect someone who has been a victim of Willy Wonka's system of chemicalization that has harmed a lot of our males, and now these males are feminine. I actually hold them closer and I give them hugs and kisses and I tell them how wonderful they are, but I don't give justification to what happened to them. They have been genetically ruined purposefully so that they wouldn't have mating qualities with brown females. That's why there aren't many males that are qualified to be with brown females. Okay? So that's it. So I'm sorry if it sounds a little harsh. Just keeping it 1,000. Hollywood, Hollyweird, Halloween, wear a mask. We're in those time frames. So for anyone on here, don't use anything I share with you as a weapon against someone. Always have a level of compassion. If I'm being chemicalized, listen, if I've been socially engineered to drink this, some of you think this is a drug, and it is. And you say to me, Fleurbrun, you're suffering from your own chemicalization. Yes, I am. I've been socially engineered to drink this, and I'm suffering from the byproduct of drinking this daily. I'm not beyond my own realization that I too am suffering from some form of socially engineered chemicalization that I'm choosing to do. So I too have a sickness that I need to resolve. That's why I fast all the time. Okay? I fast all the time. I'm not beyond my own issues. Blood types matter. Absolutely. Donald Trump, first female president and last president. Ah! Who said that? Donald Trump is not a female. That, you're off the chain. Trump was in your town. Oh, he was in your town yesterday? His clone was. He wasn't in your town. His clone was. Oh, you said brown women are for grown-ups? Absolutely. But yeah, I was going into this conversation with yesterday. We were talking about that. But yeah. What about Nibiru beings closest today? Nibiru is here. The beings of Nibiru are here. There are Martians and Nibirians here. They're all here. They're being seen in Alabama. I think it's to Issa, who was talking about the beings, Martians that were in Alabama. They're here. That's why everything is changing rapidly. Everything is happening. Hey, Indigo Pink. Indigo Pink. The new moon. That's another Sagittarius, Indigo Pink. Nibiru is here. So you have the beings that are here on site. Some of you are seeing them. I don't think they're really hiding themselves. It's just you won't see them if you don't know what you're looking at. They're here. A lot of them are interfacing with Willy Wonka and his League of Doom. A lot of your Willy Wonka is already taken over. I don't even know if we're going to have a so-called election. So because of it, you know, you got Gazoo on one side, you got the Trump on the other side. Trump, I don't even know. Some of you think you're seeing Trump's doubles. Trump is not going anywhere. He's not being any. The real Trump you won't see anywhere. If he's anywhere, he's going to be underground. He's not, or in between four walls. He isn't going anywhere. Okay. They may have his double or his clone, but I don't think many of you are going to see the real one. Yeah, he's not about that life. He ain't coming around. He ain't coming around on any of y'all. Okay? The cucarachis, you already know, that's all a setup. And your oxygen is being impeded with Sank-G that is everywhere and with the destroying of the trees. Okay? Our whole terrain is being reset. Remember, the way the planet looks now is literally a literally geoengineered to look different than. Remember, our environment has been terraformed over and over for each cycle. So it's being terraformed again, and it's being reset probably to the way it looked at the previous cycle. It goes to reset, so it's like clearing it. So the way that our planet, a lot of these trees are not naturally from this planet. I've been having a thing for tea lately. Ah, even my little ones too. Yeah, my coffee, a thing of the past. You know what? It's interesting you said you have a thing for tea lately. That's true. Because a lot of the people I know, including my mom, don't really like coffee anymore. And to be honest, I'm going to keep it real. Though I drink this, it doesn't taste as good as it used to. So there might be something to that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. I don't like the way that coffee tastes anymore. And I try coffee in different ways. I don't like it anymore. I don't like it doesn't, not that I don't like it, I don't think it tastes the same way it used to. That's what I think. Oh, they're pumping that. Okay. You too? Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. We're changing. So the planet is being reset, and the terraforming is changing the planet back to a clear slate. So all these trees being burned and killed, a lot of these trees weren't even from this planet, and many of you don't even realize that. You ever go to Florida? I live in Florida. Majority of our trees in Florida aren't even from Florida. Many of the trees here are artificial, genetically homogenized trees that have been come here and are planted here to change the way that Florida looks. So the trees are not what you think it is. The trees are not real from here. Most trees are not naturally from this planet. We don't even go into the extraterrestrials or related to trees. Okay, so our oxygen is being limited based on the fact that they're burning trees throughout the whole entire planet. And remember, I talked about the volcanoes that are under the ground that are literally cinching the trees from inside out, from underneath the ground up. Okay, so they don't tell you about that either. Okay, we're going through reset, family. You should watch Total Recall tonight. And Lorax. They're going to try to make you pay for your oxygen. That's what they're trying to do. They're going to terraform the planet. I told you when I saw in the future, the planet is all rocks. I didn't even see many trees. I didn't see any tree when I saw it in the future. But I don't want to assume there was no trees. I just didn't see them where I was standing. So take a look at that Total Recall and Lorax. Okay. So we're going through reset. So if you're feeling like you can't breathe, it's because you can't. Okay, you'll be changed. Don't worry. And what you don't realize is many of us are going back into the waterways. Some of us are going back into our MER state, our amphibious state, or our MER state. So many of us are going to go back into the waters. So you shouldn't even be upset. You shouldn't even be upset because we will be more of who we were before. So after the pole shift, after the final stage of the pole shift, the only ones who will coexist here are ones who can biologically live here with the water world. So if you're more aqua-based, that's why some of you you need more salt in your water. Some of you don't even feel right unless you get in salt water. Some of you don't feel right unless you take a salt bath because many of you are being returned to your waterways. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay. The water world is real. Like I said, it's going to be like that in the future. The polar caps are melting because we're going into reset. Another form of how we exist will be the planet will be terraformed once again. All the things that were brought here from other planets when they terraformed it last time, all the trees and so on will be removed. That's why they're burning it out because remember the Iberians are coming, and when they do that, they're going to reset it, and it'll look totally different than anything will look like. Look at Arizona. Arizona is Mars. I told you Mars and that's a bleed over of Mars, but Mars and Earth, I personally think are one and the same. I think it's a future aspect or a past aspect of Earth. That's my opinion. Thank you, Kimball. Thank you, Kimball. So I'm looking forward to congratulations to anyone who's being solicited by the mystery schools. It means you're qualified, or your children. So big up to y'all. Make sure that you are being balanced. Make sure you aren't getting inundated with politics because politics are only Satanist language. You know, only people who are really obsessed with blue and red are people who aren't really down with purple. Okay, if you really knew that what you need to be concerned about is just yourself. Nothing exists outside of yourself and your perspective. So if you keep obsessing with other people's lives and the artificial construct that is being engineered to make you think a certain way or move you in a certain direction, you still are suffering from forms of cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Okay. There isn't any such thing. All of the politicians are all Satanists and Luciferians. All of them, blue and red. All of them are sleeping with each other. They don't hate each other. Some of them are not even real. Some of them are holograms. You don't even think what you're seeing on television isn't even real. Okay. Some of these beings are androids, and they're disseminating androids all over the states. So please be mindful of the androids that are around. You'll know them. You could tell. I think I shared one on IG. If you want to check out an android, you see on IG. They're all over. See, we're going to have androids living around too. Okay. And some people, because you're eating a lot of things that have a lot of nanobots in you, or you have a lot of nanotechnology in you, you're getting telecommunication from the draconian system of AIs, a low field system that is trying to drive you into negative thought forms. Be careful of that. So if you're getting, negative thoughts in your head, most likely you're getting a lot of nanobots. You want to purge. You want to do like a metal purge, like chelate. Okay, do some claying. Because the draconian system is disseminating a signal that some people are receiving, and it's making them just negative. These are AI, artificial intelligence. That's negative. That's artificial. It's not a natural form. It's coming from the draconian system. They're sending out a signal, and some people are picking it up. So be careful, people around you, because that signal is being picked up by people that are receptive to that kind of low field frequency communication, and literally they're just dark. You could tell, because their whole conversation is dark. Their whole receptivity to higher fields of consciousness is limited. Okay, if they're talking about, remember, I've chosen. I think many of you have realized. Big up to, again, Marcia. I've chosen to engage solely in my learning through joy only, solely. So many of you are still accepted the programming of accepting your learning and your lessons through pain and trauma. I've decided to place a new program and insert a new program which solely allows me to learn through my greatest joys. So I suggest you change your programming so that you allow yourself to gain your lessons and your learning and your evolution through greatest joy. The old program through trauma-based programming and through pain and sadness. That's an old programming that was instituted by artificial beings and also Satanists and Luciferians to keep you controlled and keep you limited. Okay. But now you can accept and reprogram yourself. So if you want to try, big up to Marcia, who allowed for that concept and that programming to be accessible by us. But we will be learning through our highest, a group of us are choosing to solely learn through our highest and greatest joy, solely. That's the way I'm choosing. I've already instituted that program. So all my learning and my lessons now, evolutionary wise, is learning through my greatest joy. Okay, so I suggest you reprogram yourself and do so. It'll allow your experience here during the shift to be so much more enlightening. All right, family, see the sun? Look at the sun. The sun is setting. I'm about to head on out and chill out. Rewire yourself, right? Yeah, right on? Yeah, rewiring ourselves. I'm going to head on out. I'm going to go on IG tonight. I'll go on IG tonight. I'm going to chill out. So I hope, I wish everybody well in your mystery schools. I wish you well in your interviewing process. I hope to see many of you there and hear about many of your interviews. And also, I hope to see you all tonight on IG. Now, for those again who are joining us with the little people on tomorrow's Zoom, children, it's from 2 to 3:30. You just have to register on my Patreon, and you're more than welcome, mommies and daddies, to sit in with the little people. We'll be there. My eldest will be holding it. And also for tomorrow night, we'll be watching the finale of Lovecraft together on Zoom. So you'll be joining us for that. So I love you. You feel different today? Who feels different today? Indigo Prink, you feel different today? How you feel, Sagittarius? Do you feel better? We had a wonderful experience with your auntie. We did. Is that why? We'll talk about it, Indigo Pink. We'll get into that. All right, y'all. So I love you. I'm out. I wish everybody well. And again, the more likes you put on this video, the more likely it'll stay up. Again, they're doing things online. So if you want the video to stay up and you like the content and you want me to come on more often, putting a like lets me know that you're satisfied or you like this. Like I said, I want to please you rather than tease you. So if it's something that you enjoy, then putting a like lets me know that. All right. So I wish everybody well. Have a masterful Saturday. Be mindful. Keep your children close to you as the holidays are coming. The pagan holiday of All Hallows Eve is coming, and also make sure that you are, if you're engaged in that, you can. If you know that the veil is thin, you can always access your greatest and most amazing ancestor, and you can pull them through during this time if you need that interface. All right, y'all. So I'm gone. Have a masterful, amazing evening, day, night. All right? Peace.